for next week. By the way, okay, end of this one. I'm gonna discuss this. Okay, so as usually, let's see what's happening on the charts. There is a potential divergence after this candle as well. We could witness an huge breakout. I expected some kind of correction last week. There was, yeah, we can say there was a correction and a continuation afterwards, but here is a possibility for a reverse divergence, which is not formed yet. But as you see, the market went up, but here we didn't got the sign. So what I would expect is an up move and down move, and then a continuation up. That will be the best scenario, actually. Oh, on weekly, you just see that there is something happened. There's also a divergence forming, but I think with this kind of volume inside the market and the crosses, as you see, we are bouncing from the zero line as well. We could bounce higher. And this will be the target point and the first of all, and after that, if we break to this level, we can witness the second zone right there. Okay, that's what I'm looking for in first of all. So maybe a small correction again after the divergence, and after that I would look like a continuation to the upside, but first we need something to make some plays right there. But as you see, we are above the zero line, and that's what mostly happens when we break to the zero line. There is some kind of correction or a retest on the zero line, and then a continuation in the structure, and that's what I wanted to see. ODNZD still going sideways, but it looks like the ZXY gonna have some weakness, as you see how the AXY and the ZXY closed. Is a huge difference between the two. So what I would say, there is definitely right now an Australian dollar dominance in the market, and that's what I want to see as well. We break the zero line, got a buy signal. This looks like a clear momentum as well. So I want to see the Australian dollar stronger next week. But anyways, because those two currencies are both weak. So if you look to the rest of the currencies, you can just see that they're not doing well against each other, all right, but not against the dollar especially. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. All right. And the Euro CHF, what we see right now is a possible divergence from both sides, actually. But you see it is forming, but we are under the zero line. So first of all, I would like to say we need a break in this thing, what we see here. But two reds, one green on the destroyer. There is not a high liquidity, but next week, on 1st September, is also NFP. This is a huge opportunity, actually, to start the month with those amount of liquidity. Okay, there is no divergence on weekly, a small structural divergence, but actually that's it. That is what I'm looking for. And right now everything is in red, but I think there is also some time needed, because as you see, we're reaching a low, and I wouldn't say it's an all-time low, because that wouldn't be right, but we have not enough data. Maybe Let's see, just a quick capital.com. Oh, even less data. Okay, not a good thing. Forex.com. 2006. Okay, also not enough data. Then I will stick to the Onda. Actually, so we can say we are around an all-time low, kind of like. And if we break it, it doesn't mean that the price is gonna go down like hell, because it's not the thing. There was some kind of break on the CAT CHF. I'm gonna show you this one. We have more data here. Nope. But it reached actually the all-time low last week. But as you see, just didn't broke down. Like, okay, everything is in red, fine. But after the all-time low was reached at this point, you see there was a pullback in the market, and there is also some structural divergence. So the conclusion is not because of the all-time low is breaking that we're gonna broke down to, let's say, 0.92. It's not the main case. Okay. What I would like to see is mostly a correction of the Euro CHF as well, but yeah, there is something happening with the euro, and it's not positive in other terms. Yeah, let's see. Actually, I'm not a big fan of Euro CHF. There is not the right liquidity, but here we could say the CHF is definitely controlling the euro. And the euro GBP, it's time to bounce. Actually, reached the previous low. That was also a good bounce from there. But as you see on weekly perspective, there is a divergence to the downside. There is also low liquidity inside the VVVM. The volume is not that sexy, that's right. But what I would like to see is kind of like pull back to the previous high and making some place for himself. So it's kind of like this. That will be the perfect scenario, actually, if that could work out. Okay. Then we got the DXY, something similar as the USD Canadian dollar, but here is also something forming. As you see, here was the high, and we just broke through, and that's mostly when a divergence forming. This could be also a convergence. I don't see that happening right now, but could be. As you see, the difference between the slow moving average on the REMA and the fast moving average, there is a quite big gap right there. And here is looks like that there was a potential divergence, but there is no divergence anymore from the upside. So it looks like equally like the price, and that's why you see two target zones. And I draw also an XABCD pattern right there. That's what I want to see, and that's at the previous high, which is at the same point as I marked on the Fibonacci. So that's what I want to see, actually. And as we see on monthly basis, this is also an interesting picture that we are above the zero line on both of the indicators. There was some correction, what's happened, and maybe it's time to break this correction. Okay, this looks actually quite like a break and a retest on the previous resistance zone, and also a good retest on the Fibonacci. 50% what we witnessed here. So it's quite interesting because stepping into the September, and September looks crazy in my opinion. So I would like to see a stronger dollar, actually. That's what I want to see. Maybe a bit of correction because of this divergence, but after that, I will definitely wait for a continuation or something like that. Okay, so let's see the price climbs a bit more up, then a correction down, and then so kind of like this, and like this, what I would expect. But first of all, let's see where the divergence is going, because we can speculate, but we have to wait for the signals, of course. Okay, but what we can see through the indicators is this at this point, because there is above the zero line, like on the REMA, we broke also the zero line. It's also a good sign, and there is a huge gap between the two, which indicates a stronger movement in the market. Okay, the CXY went down, and here is also something similar. I would like to wait for a divergence or something, because you got the buy signal, but the price just went down to the previous low, and that's right there. And here is also a possibility of the divergence, but what we can see here is also rising volume, or yeah, if we reverse that, a falling volume, which is looks like a bit aggressive, not as aggressive what happened here, but we can say something similar. What is there happening? Okay, and when we see so high volume rate on the VV plus, then we should expect some falling volume candles as well, which might seen as correction or something like that, and then the price should turn. But at this point, I would see a continuation. And as we see on monthly basis, there is also a huge divergence, and we are under zero line. So kind of like break, retest, and a continuation. That's a beautiful bounce from the REMA as well. We just need the signals of the destroyer and the VV plus. Okay, the AXY kind of like the same as the AXY. That's what I want to see. There is a channel formed right there, and that's what I want to see, actually, to break out the channel. We had the divergence from the last few weeks, and it's just went down as expected, and you see there is something started. Okay, and I want to see to break that level. We need to break this first, and after that we can see a huge movement to the downside. And it will also mean this is bouncing from the zero line. We got already this sell signal with this candle. We have 4 days to close it, and if it closes like that, then we could see a huge down move, which indicates a weaker euro in common. So as you see on Euro CHF, plays looking like it plays out. Then we have the EXY. Also, I don't know if you remember, this was the divergence what we were talking about months ago, which was right there. It's just continuously fall. As you know, the EXY is also one of the currencies which are not increasing the interest rate for the, I don't know, previous years. but this can goes on. When they gonna start it, the currency will gain some strength and temporary strength. But right now, it's just like um, heat metal or something, and we have to hit it. Okay, but there is on weekly a small divergence forming. It's not formed yet, but there is definitely something forming. Also in the structure, wait for the signs, and eventually you can trade on a move up in the coming weeks if this forming. But I will consider this also as a retest because we are under the zero line. So I prefer more the downside in this case. On the daily basis, there is a divergence forming to the downside. This is pretty clear as well. So that's why I say wait for that weekly confirmation, because as you see the daily, we are under the zero line and continuation to the downside. So yeah, there is still a possibility to break down. Okay, that's what I want to see. Then the BXY, I draw here also a channel, and we broke out from the consolidation zone, which is a pretty good sign. And there was also kind of like a divergence in the market under the zero line. I will follow this setup to the downside, actually. I'm not expecting anything else. And finally, we got also the cross on the REMA, but it's not that beautiful because at the first term, here is a possibility for a pullback in the market because there is also a divergence forming, but there was also a divergence to the downside. Okay, but right now everything is in red. I would not go against the momentum. Let's see what the price does around this point. First of all, a monthly basis. Okay, there is no divergence. There is just convergence, and we are hitting the zero line. And the first falling candle appeared actually because of this candle. So yeah, we got also the sell signal. It's also a good one, and we are under the zero line on the REMA as well. So what I would like to see is another move down in the long-term run. And this was also a huge period from 10 October until now. So yeah, that was a bit too long. So time for a correction, or yeah, for a main move actually. SXY, something similar, but here it does not break out from this channel. Also, the divergence kicked in, the price went down, but it's not that aggressive. And here is a previous low, where my target zone is actually. And if that point is reached, I can say that we're gonna have a turning point. So breakdown goes back, and then we can see a fall move to the downside. So it's early to say we have a clear momentum. And what you see is also the zero line. It's above the zero line. So it's not a agreed signal to the downside. Okay, as you see on monthly basis, there is no divergence in this case. Everything is above the zero line. It's going up. So that's why I say this SXY is quite stronger than the rest. And as you see how the SXY is close compared to the DXY and the rest of the currencies, SXY was stronger after the DXY, of course. So here, as we see on daily, there is also a divergence forming. It's not formed yet. It's definitely forming. We need to make some space, in my opinion, but we have to break this level as well. And then we can see a beautiful fall, which should correct back up and then a fall down again. Here we breaking under the zero line. That's a good sign, but there is no impulsivity in the charts. Like similar like here. If we break this zone down and the price starts to act kind of like this, then it's not the right momentum. But if the price breaks down, and I think the NFP will be a great opportunity next week to break this down. And if the retest happens, then we're gonna get a clear down movement after that. Okay, the AXY, like I said, it's just a weak currency right now. It's stronger against the XY, but that's it. There is also divergence forming to the downside, and that's mostly what I draw here, and reverse divergence, what's mostly happening. So after the continuation comes mostly the reverse divergence as well in the market, and that's what I want to see. We're also reaching the previous lows. This is a good start, but we are, and come on, we are still under the zero line. So everything what I'm searching for right now is not a big impulse to the upside, it's just a correction. Okay. On weekly, there is no sign. Okay, we reached on the REMA, the bottom, and last time when we reached that low, we made actually a structural divergence. And here, okay, this was something different, but yeah, we reached that low, and that was an impulsive movement to the downside. Here was also previous point when we reached that low, and that was exactly the low point of the market, which retested also on a previous low in the market. So you can clearly see in this the volume differences. Okay, and right now there is not a big volume difference at all. It's on the same point actually, and the price is a bit on a higher point. So if you see in that way, it just goes down actually when this goes up. Okay, but it's early to say. Okay, but there is something forming on the daily as well here in the volume from the bottom. Here was the peak of the volume. The price went down, it went up. So it's coming closer to the slower moving average, and that indicates mostly reversal movement. Then we get the CXY, it's also a bearish movement, something similar what we could see on the AXY. First down movement, and then I would see an up movement. There's no sign on weekly, and on monthly this is just something started. Okay, on higher time frame, it's not enough. First of all, because it's okay, it's not the all time. I don't have all time here, but this is also an opportunity to fall even on a lower point than this. This was the first target zone which I will want to hold as the previous low in the market, and it's working out very well, going into our favor. That's what I want to see from the ZXY. There could be some reverse divergences, but at the end of the day, I still want the price to go down to this point. And then our dear friend, the gold, there is definitely a divergence forming on gold, which indicates a down move. So I can say forward what to do on the NFP, but right now I would say that we're gonna get a stronger dollar from the NFP. Okay, but I repeat, this can't affect you. So you have to look into the 15 minutes, into the 5 minutes, and into the 1 minute to have confirmation before you enter on an NFP. It's high volatile news, have risks, but this looks like on a bigger picture that we heading to the downside. So it will mean that we're gonna get a stronger dollar. Okay, on weekly basis, it's not a clear thing because we have a divergence forming, but from the another side, we are breaking the zero line at this point. And there is also a huge gap on the REMA between the two. And now comes the better part. This is a huge structural divergence inside. It is also convergence, just convergence. And here, if it's starting bearish, this will definitely cross. Actually, there is a low volume inside the VVV, and we got the sell signal already from the destroyer. Okay, so it's quite interesting. I'm looking forward for the NFP. Actually, I'm gonna travel on Thursday, 31, sorry, 38. Right. So yeah, but I'm gonna definitely have an eye on the NFP. It's just looking too sexy. Even if I'm not trading, I'm gonna take credit with me. Okay, now let's see what we have for the economic calendar. We're gonna start with some Audi news. Not a big deal, in my opinion. This could have a gap on the starting market, and a good thing to know, when the gaps are happening in the market, they are mostly closing as well. So keep an eye on that. After that, the Tuesday jolt openings could be interesting. Not looking for the rest, but Wednesday, there's more high volatile news. We could follow those news as well, and the ADP gonna have some influence in the market. And the continuation with the Thursday, there's also some high impact news by the CPI on 11, gonna be interesting, and the jobless claims of the USA will kick in as well. And then Friday, of course, CPI. There is also high volatility news before the NFP, but after that we're gonna get the NFP as well. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And have a great week, guys, and we see each other next week. I'm gonna have access to the Zooms as well. Not this week, but this week as well, but the week after that we'll be working. So hit me up with the Zoom calls. Okay.